My man, welcome to the Snapshot series,
Appreciate it, man.
Jay Swallow.
Yep.
And I just want to acknowledge you and edify you real quickly. You are someone who is a massive executor. So any of the information I've ever taught, you always execute it and you do it with certainty. So I want to acknowledge you. You always condense the execution gap, but also your willingness to commit to psychology, behavior, patterns, inner child stuff, all the things that you help people unwire and rewire, all the things that you help people evolve in. I just want to thank you for it because we need more light workers. So thank you for being a light worker and welcome to the Snapshot series.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot. Thanks.
You got it.
Yep.
So for those that don't know you, for those that do, but for those that don't know you, could you give me a little bit of snapshot about where you were, like a rock bottom, where you are now, and why you're so passionate about the work that you've been doing and the speaking that you've been doing?
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. So first of all, what I do and what I'm really passionate about doing is helping people uncover their internal beliefs and their external habits that keep them stuck, right? Because for a long time, I had internal beliefs and external habits that was keeping me stuck and not living in my potential. And so part of that process is just showing people how to redefine the meanings that they place on their past experiences, right? Because we all have things that happen in the past that create our identity. And if we're not careful, that identity is not going to serve us. And then it really helps them once we can do that, then we can start reimagining what's possible for our future. So for me, kind of where I came from, where I'm at now, is very, very long background of addiction, right? And this is kind of a series of things that have gone on throughout my life. But basically in 2014, I found myself in a really dark spot. And this was years after I had already changed my life for the better.
Wow.
And this was a result of addiction. And I was 28 years old. I had a newborn baby girl. And I was struggling through a very severe prescription drug addiction that probably should have killed me, frankly. I was down on my luck and way behind on my promises, really, to everyone, like including myself and my small family. I was in a really low spot. And fast forward some years, and today my life looks fortunately much different. I'm today a transformational speaker, learning from the best of the best. I have accomplished recently the accomplishment of being a best-selling author, which just happened like yesterday. Yeah,
wow,
which
congrats.
is really cool. Yeah, so I found some success in business. I'm in a much different place today, and so my mission today is really just helping that person who was me 10 years ago come through some of that pain and get back to a place of passion, power, and purpose. So
beautiful.
That's it in a nutshell.
Are you on a journey of sobriety?
Yeah, so I've been completely sober from everything for about a year and a half.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Before that, I had multiple stints of sobriety, but
Yeah.
like the last thing was Adderall, and it nearly took me out. I'm fortunate to say I'm not a slave to any mind-altering substance anymore, which is a big deal for me because my entire family it's riddled with addiction. Everybody's struggling or has struggled severely with addiction. Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge you for the one that breaks out. We always talk about how pain runs down a family tree until someone steps up and feels it.
Yeah.
And we call you a lineage leader, right? The lineage leader, the one who breaks the chains, the one who steps out, the one who does the unheard of, the unthinkable, goes sober when everyone else goes the other way. So I just want to acknowledge you for that. And for those that are listening right now, maybe they're struggling with psychology, maybe they're struggling with addiction, maybe they're just struggling as a man or a woman. What would be the 2 to 3 things, like someone to get started? Like if you were talking to your younger self, what would be the 2 to 3 things that someone could get started to start changing their life?
Yeah, it's good. So one thing I learned, man, and this was like the most transformational pivot in my entire life. And in the middle of all of this chaos, right, one day I kind of had this epiphany, and I learned that it wasn't necessarily like my rough upbringing or my childhood trauma that was keeping me stuck, right, for all these years. It wasn't the fact that my parents weren't present. It wasn't the fact that I grew up in drug-infested trailer parks, or the fact that I became a drug addict in my early teens and spent most of my teenage years in and out of facilities, jails, rehab, psych wards, that type of thing. It wasn't the fact that I accumulated 3 felony drug charges and was sentenced juvenile life by the time I was 16. It wasn't like the schools, the teachers, or the government. I had all these beliefs about why I was where I was. But ultimately what I figured out is I had to learn how to conquer the biggest enemy of all, and that was me, right? I had to learn how to conquer me. which is why I wrote a book about it, which is why I have a podcast about it. So my whole message is exactly that. It's like, it was my beliefs, my stories, my paradigms, my daily habits that was causing me to show up that way. And so what I would say is the number one thing is just audit your programming. Guys, understand that we are a product of our programming. And when we're born and we come into the world, we're given a set of beliefs. We're given a name, an identity, right? We're given a belief system about money and about politics and about marriage and all these types of things. And in my case, those belief systems weren't serving me. And so I finally was like, all right, maybe I should consider auditing the way that I think and some of these beliefs and paradigms. And now looking back, it's clear that, okay, well, that was never going to get me where I wanted to go, right? But when you're in the middle of it and you only know what you know unless you question that. So that would be the one thing for sure, is like, be sure you audit your programming. And then the next thing would be to face the facts. Like when I'm sitting in front of the judge and he says, hey, dude, you're a habitual offender. For those of you that don't know what that means, it means I got in trouble a lot.
I've seen you here before.
I've been in front of this dude multiple times, and he's like, we can't continue to do this. Here's the sentence. And I'm sitting there going like, no one can save me. I made a series of decisions, and the facts are I've got to suffer the consequences. And so a big piece of like my personal development now, what I teach other people how to do, is just face the facts. It doesn't matter what they are, but face them. Because until we face them, we can't change them, right? What are the facts about your health? What are the facts about your marriage? What are the facts about your money? What are the facts about whatever, right? Your sobriety, your inability to stay sober. So that's the second one. And then the third thing I would say, most important, would probably be to audit your circle and elevate your circle. I would not be where I am today if I didn't get around people who I could borrow belief from, right? The reason I wrote my book is because I was sitting at lunch with a dude who I respect. He's actually a coaching client of mine. And he goes, Jay, when are you going to write the book, bro? Like, what are you waiting on? And I'm like, I don't know, write the book. I'm teaching people how to overcome self-limiting beliefs, right? And he's like, dude, I think that's a limiting belief. Coming here and working with you and like seeing all these other folks that we're around, I need to get around people who think at a different level because we're the product of our environment, right? We're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And if we go to a barbershop over and over and over again, eventually we're going to get a haircut, right? So like if I hang around the people that don't have the results that I want, I'm going to get those results. This is especially powerful if you're someone who struggles through addiction, because you'll always go back. If you don't get away from that and learn a new way of thinking and a new way of living, we'll always go back. So those would probably be the 3 big keys for me that I would tell anyone if I was only limited to 3, would certainly be audit your programming, elevate your circle, and then or face the facts, and then elevate your circle.
Yeah, it's so good because we all need to audit our programming. I don't care what level you're at, we're always auditing our programming, and you're always going to be auditing your programming, right? So get started on that. Facing the facts is just like not living in delusion about your stuff,
right?
You know, and like facing it, right? I really love what you said about that. And then proximity, right? Proximity is power. So auditing the circle. That means elevating people, and that means cutting people too.
Right.
And that's difficult, right? And so I'm just so pumped that you're not a hidden gem, that you're a bright light, that you're in the world, that you're sharing, you're serving, you're an offering. And for those that would love to get more from you, that would love to go deeper with you, where can they find you, and do you have anything to give the people?
Yeah, so you can go to conquermecoaching.com. Conquermecoaching.com. I have a book on Amazon now. You guys can check that out. I'm on Instagram at Jay, last name Swallow, Soileau. On all major social platforms would be the easiest way to connect.
Perfect. So what we'll do is we'll put that when we release in the Snapshot series. We'll put those that link, all the links. We can put the link to the book, the link to the coaching inside of the show notes. And for those that want to keep following your content, you have a podcast, right?
Yeah, so Conquer Me Podcast as well.
He's got a podcast. He's got Instagram. He's all over. And if you have the opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into his expertise and bring this man into your stage, or bring him into a podcast or a panel or an event, you want the insight. You want the insight that this man has, and it's been an incredible journey to watch you evolve, for you to take information and run with it. I appreciate you putting your time, your faith, your investment into me. I don't take that lightly, and I look forward to seeing all the magic and all the lives that you're going to impact as we move forward. Man.
Thank you for everything you do, brother.
You got it. This is the Snapshot series with Jay Swallow.
Peace.